Okay, so let's cover another type of inhibition. This one is called uncompetitive inhibition, and you're thinking, wait, like how can you have inhibition that's not competitive? Well, it doesn't bind with the free enzyme. Instead, it's binding with the complex. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what would this cause exactly? Well, if the ES gets complexed into ESI, you're not going to have product formation. It looks kind of bad, but we can prove mathematically that it will be bad in most situations. It will end up like reducing the amount, the product formation rate. And yeah, we just do the math the same way as before. So remember I'm using the big K here. I guess we can even call it KM. Like as this, so don't mix up the big K's and the little K's. The little K's are just the one-way reactions, and the big K's are for the reciprocals of that, like that whole thing. So we start off with product formation, same as before. And here, yep, same thing. And then we can use the fast equilibrium assumption. So remember, fast equilibrium is just the forward and backwards are the same. And you can just even do this in one step. I'm just showing a few steps so that, you know, if you're not really too familiar with this, whoops. Okay, and that will be over K1. And then once you've written one of them, you can see that the other ones will just follow the same way. It can just be written. Okay, so how do we simplify this? We can just substitute ES into this equation. Okay, and we can use enzyme conservation. Okay, and then we substitute in and we get an equation for E. And remember, the reaction rate is just K2ES, so we substitute this into ES and we work it out. So there was a Km there. Okay, and we can just distribute the Km throughout the bottom. Okay, and we need to find a way to see if we can get this into Michaelis Menton Kinetics. And is it possible for us to do that? Let's see. We see that you can kind of factor the S's. And yeah, we can actually divide by this. This is just a constant. I is a constant, ki is a constant. We can just do this. So if you're not sure how to do that, because I know, again, I keep saying it, a lot of people have difficulty dealing with fractions. You just multiply it by 1. You know what I mean? Like, see this? This is just multiplying by 1. Don't be afraid. There we go. And wow, it looks like we got it. So now we just have to define these differently. Now it's apparent. It's not really the same as before. Let's denote it by calling it apparent, VM apparent and KM apparent. Okay, good. So what's the issue here? Now it is like, you might not be able to see it too easily. Like, higher VM is good, higher KM is bad. In terms of the reaction speed for the product formation rate. By adding more to the denominator, we're decreasing VM. Like, you know what I'm saying? Vmap is lower than VM. Kmap is lower than Km. And you'll see that, you know, this kind of like is conflicting. A higher VM is better and a lower Km is better. So like, you have to see what outweighs it. Look at this. The V is connected through multiplication, but the bottom Kmap is connected through addition. So actually what will happen is, if both of these were to be reduced in such a way, because this one's connected to the substrate concentration through multiplication, the V is actually going to have more of an effect. And what happens to V here? V gets decreased, so you know that this is the whole product formation rate is going to decrease. Even though Km is reduced, and that Km getting reduced increases the reaction speed. In this case, when both of them are affected at once, in general, the big V, well, the Vmax will have more of an effect because it's connected through multiplication. Can you kind of see that in this case? And so, even with this kind of inhibition, it makes sense that, yeah, your product formation rate is going to decrease. It's not always going to be the case. Maybe there'll be an exceptional case where the Km might have more of an impact at certain concentrations compared to the maximum velocity, but in general, yeah, this is going to reduce the product formation rate no matter what you do. And there you go, we've modeled uncompetitive inhibition. We found the product formation rate of P. Hope you enjoyed the video.